Hello, it's FA Cole. It's been a while, so I've been doing a series on surviving female genital mutilation. I did it like the way I start my videos. I believe most of them, I think I've only done 5. This is number 6 or so, and it's the last one actually. So I did it in obedience to God's instruction. Again, it's not because I've got a phone and I've got a YouTube platform with 7.5 subscribers. That's not why I'm doing this. I did it in obedience to God's word, because if you are a believer, now I didn't say Christian, I said believer, you know the consequences, what happens when you live in total disobedience to God's word or his direct instruction. So thank you for stopping by. If you haven't seen any of the other series that I posted, and if you're interested, just go ahead and take a look. And also I want to thank everybody who subscribed so far. Yeah, I'm about 603 subscribers. So from doing these videos, I got 4 subscribers. So thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Yeah, and also if you haven't subscribed yet, just go ahead and do that. And please just for the YouTube algorithm, just interact with this video, and you can do so by liking and also by sharing. Thank you. And so today, which is going to be the last video that I do, the last series for this, it's life after FGM continued, right? But this one is really, it will make your day, because what I'm about to talk about has made my day, not just my day, for the past since 2017. Have I got enough fingers? It will be 8 years in September since this particular incident happened in my life that changed my life. So in 2017, let me just get straight to it, right? In 2017, I underwent clitoral restorative surgery. When I did it in 2017 and I did my vlog, again, the Lord told me to talk about my experience, to a 30-day vlog. I did the surgery in September and the Lord told me to do it. And this was, I think, November. But I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this. People already know my story. There are people who've read my book. There are people who listen to me talk on platforms, stages in schools, and I've been in the company of law enforcement, FBI, ICE, local police departments here in the US. So there are people out there who know my story, and of course on Facebook. But I don't want to do that. But when the Lord tells you to do something, he's not telling you to do it because of you. He's not telling you to do it because he doesn't have somebody else that he can use. Remember, he is God. He is the almighty, all-knowing, all-loving, oh my gosh, God. So I decided to do it. And in hindsight, now I see why the Lord told me to do it. And I'm so glad I obeyed. What do people say? I don't know if it's the Bible that says it. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Is it the Bible? You Bible scholars out there. So when I did that 31-day vlog, I did the nursery school rhyme, 30 days of September, April, June, and November, all the rest of 31 days. So a 31-day vlog in December. Women started reaching out about the surgery. Most of them had never heard of it. Some of them had, but they hadn't met somebody who had gone through it. And others had contacted somebody who's gone through it, but they never heard back. You know how you reach out to somebody who's experienced something you're going through, and you think that there might be a resource, and even though they're supposed to be a resource, it costs them nothing, but they just decide to blow you off. They don't respond to you, maybe because you're not on their level. So that's another topic. So women started reaching out, inquiring about the surgery. And that in those vlogs, I refer to it as reconstructive surgery, but Dr. Bowers corrected me that it's not reconstruction. There was no reconstruction that happened in my with my vagina, my genitalia. It's restorative surgery, because that's exactly what she did. Yeah, she restored what was taken. Anyway, so, and even men reached out on behalf of their wives, and which was surprising but also encouraging. It tells me that these particular men, feels the pain of their wives. You know, when the Bible talks about and the two shall become one, right? So that's what that was. So in hindsight, I'm so grateful, I'm so thankful to God that He chose me to put that out there, to be an advocate for the surgery, because I know it worked in my life. Yes, I had some ups and downs with it. I had some not so great experience at some point because I was allergic to the type of suture used, but overall, so much blessing came from me having to go through that surgery. And like I always say, when I'm invited to speak, I always close with, my vagina is so powerful that it took me to France and I didn't have to pay a dime. I didn't have to sleep with anybody either, but I didn't have to pay. That's how powerful the vagina is. I don't know about your vagina if you're female, but mine is so powerful, because with the surgery, because I had those the I had the reaction. So what happened? Global Women Peace Foundation actually sent me to France to make sure that everything was done correctly. So I went to see Dr. Days. He is one of the pioneers of the restorative surgery, clitoral restorative surgery. And so yeah, I went to France, and I've always wanted to go to France. So that just happened. That was a blessing in disguise. That was one of the silver linings. You always have to look at the silver lining. For me, I stopped looking at the glass as half full, half empty. Now I always look at the glass as half full. Anyway, so back to our topic today, but that ties into it. So September, I don't know if it was September 17th or September 27th. I know it had a 7 in it. I had my surgery in San Mateo, California by Dr. Bowers. So what is this clitoral restorative surgery? All my life, before the surgery, up to 8 years ago, I thought I underwent type 1 female genital mutilation, right? So go back to my videos. The very first one, it gives you the definitions, the different types of FGM, types 1, 2, and 3. Clitoridectomy, excision, and infibulation. So, or if you don't want to watch the videos, you can just Google them, look them up. So, but when I went to see Dr. Bowers, that's when she examined me. She saw the picture, because I live in Maryland and she's in California. So she told me to send a picture, and that's what most women don't want to do, because who wants to take a picture of their vagina and then send it to somebody, and you sending it via email, anything could happen. So but I did. Hey, what have I got to lose? Nothing, actually. So when she examined me the day before my surgery, she said, "Oh," she calls me Frances. She doesn't call me FA. She said, "Oh, Frances, I've got bad news for you. They actually subjected you to type 2. Oh my gosh!" And I got upset all over again, because type 2, they removed the inner lips, the labia minora. I'm like, oh, so that's that thing that was hanging there, because growing up, after the FGM torture, when I would shower, if you look down there, I always see like there was skin hanging. I didn't know what that was. So when I wrote my book, my first book, I said, oh, I underwent type F for favor, not knowing. I was trying to encourage myself. You know how when you're going through something, you look for ways to encourage yourself. You try to look for the best in all situations. Yeah, so I was encouraging myself. Oh, I went through type F for favor. because I thought that that was part of the clitoris that was amputated, but because the woman was drunk out of her mind, that she cut it in half, and the half was what was hanging, but it was not. She removed the clitoris, all of it, and it was the inner lips. She just massacred my vagina. So I hope you understand why I do what I do. And I'm so happy. I'm so grateful to God for saying yes, for confirming that this is your call, this is part of your assignment. And it's not just about talking. I know God's going to use my story to set a lot of women free from demonic covenants, demonic oppression. And I think I talked about that. How it depends what country you're from. So if you were born in Sierra Leone, Liberia, Guinea, and you underwent FGM in those countries, and they didn't do it at home, you were actually in the bushes in the forest, and they'll wake you at midnight and they tell you to get naked and you have to do some rituals. You need deliverance, oh my sister, you need deliverance. Anyway, so that was what happened. So I thought that that was the clitoris that was cut in half, not knowing that she just, you know, when you put meat through a blender. When I talk about FGM, I don't tiptoe around the topic, because for people to really understand how evil this practice is, how it affects survivors, the magnitude of the damage that it does to us. You cannot talk about it and put honey around it. You cannot dress it up nicely, put band-aid around it, and you use icing to cover the band-aid, and you put a little bit of a cherry on it to dress it to make it look nice. No, no, no. I want you to have this image in your head. And if you want to come at me later, that's fine. But just take, like, those of you who eat liver, I can't stand that thing. It's like you put it in a blender or a food processor to chop it off. That was what my genitalia looked like down there. Yeah, that's what it looked like with that thing hanging. And it wasn't just hanging, even though I called it type F. It had a hole going through it. It had an open. How did that even happen? You forcefully amputated my clitoris, and then you went for the inner lips, and then while you're trying to chop off the inner lips, cut them out, what you did, what you didn't do, I don't know. You left a piece hanging, but through that piece, I want to make sure I don't have holes under my finger, right? That piece, there was a hole going through it. And I remember sometimes if I shower, I have to be very careful to make sure that this finger does not get, because the tip of this finger could actually fit in it. And it happened a few times where I'm like, oh, thank you, God, because if I was not paying attention and this thing goes through it and then post yeah. So when Dr. Bowers told me that, no, it was type 2, they removed the labia minor, I'm like, oh, so that's what that was. But thank God for Dr. Bowers. So what she did, she said, I don't like cutting parts that, but I'll try to fix it. And she did. She fixed it. So now when I look down there, I don't even have to look. But when I shower, of course, I don't see it anymore. It's no longer hanging. There's that piece that was hanging. There was a disaster waiting to happen. It's no longer there. It's gone. So with the restorative surgery, what the doctors do, because when you're subjected to FGM, I don't want to say you go through it. When you say you go through something, it means that it was consensual. Well, not consensual. That's not the word I want to use. Yeah, well, with FGM, it's FGM for most 90, I believe 99% of people who've been through, women who've been subjected to FGM was not consensual. No, 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 wasn't. So going through something is like, okay, I know what I'm about to get into. I know I'm about to step into, but I'm going to do it anyway. No, 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 not with FGM. So that's why I don't like using the word when you go through, when you're subjected to it. So for women who are subjected to female genital mutilation, and now I've lost my train of thought. But so when that happened, I went through the surgery. So yeah, here we go. Sorry. Thank you for bearing with me. I've got a million things going through my mind. Thank you. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for the reminder. Yeah. So when that happened, there's a scar. It forms, for some women, it's keloid. It's super, super bad scarring that happens. And that tissue, oh, you know how there's elasticity, right, the vagina area. So if you have that scar tissue covering it, the elasticity, and that's why sex for most survivors is excruciating. For me, penetration is, have I enjoyed sex? Yes, I have. But penetration has always been awful. Penetration has always been painful. Yeah. So what happens is they remove that scar tissue. So the Dr. Bowers, Dr. Folders, or whomever your doctor is, they remove the scar tissue. All right. And then they cut you open, just a tiny incision. And then they go in because the clitoris is long. Is longer than what I didn't even know all of this until 2017 when I interviewed Dr. Bowers, and then I did my research. I'm like, oh, so this is how it's done. And then she further explained it to me when I met her in her for my pre-op visit in California. And so they go in, the clitoris is long, so it's inside. What they cut off is the tip. You know, like how you've got tip, the iceberg, and you see the tip of it, right? So that's what the clitoris is like. And that's why for most survivors of FGM who haven't even had the surgery, they say, oh yeah, I enjoy sex, I still have, it's pleasurable. And that's because it's still in there, right? So what they cut off is just the tip of it, but still you shouldn't do that to anyone. Anyway, so they remove the scar tissue and they cut open, and then they go in and they pull it out a little bit and they stitch it to stay in place. And that's why most women reach out. They say, oh, what after that? Is it painful? I don't want to have to go through that pain. I don't want to go through that trauma again. I'm like, no, that's what I thought, that, oh my gosh, it was going to be painful when it was time for me to pee. Oh my God, I can't stand the pain, blah, blah, blah. But when it was time for me to pee, no pain whatsoever. There was a slight discomfort just by sitting because it was swollen, the numbness, you know, it was swollen. So when I sat down, I felt a little bit of discomfort and I sat on the toilet. But other than that, no burning sensation like I had on the night that I was subjected to FGM. And so fast forward, 2 weeks after my surgery, went back to Maryland. I was watching telly and I saw just, I wasn't watching porn. I wasn't watching, what is it, X-rated or Z-rated, none of that. It was just innocent kiss to people, just kissing. And I felt something, a sensation. I was like, what was that? And I got my phone, I texted, picked up my cell phone. This is not my cell phone. I picked up my cell phone and I texted, Dr. Bowers, this is what's going on. I was just watching telly and I saw two people kiss, male and female, and then I felt something down there, and she responded with a smile face saying, Francis, that's the clitoris, and that's what it's supposed to do, that's what it does. And I got angry all over again. I'm like, this is what they took from me. And you know, I had not felt that sensation. But yeah, so that surgery actually helped, not just with the sexual part of it, but with my well-being, my emotional well-being, my physical well-being, my sexual well-being, my spiritual well-being. It was a holistic process. It was a holistic transformation that took place in my life, and that is why I talk about it. That is why I advocate for the surgery. It's not for everyone. If you want to do it, just make sure that you go with the right doctors, because there are a lot of doctors that I've heard. I've also heard from women who had a botch surgery done. You know, some of these doctors see it as a way to make money, and that's one thing again about Dr. Bowers. Say what you may about her, but she doesn't charge. She doesn't take a dime from women. And I remember asking her, I said, "Oh, Dr. Bowers, why is it that you don't get paid for doing this?" She said, "Because it's my way of giving back. The women have been through so much trauma. Why charge them for to pay you for something to help them restore something that they never even had a say over letting go?" So all you pay is the fee for the anesthesiologist and her staff. She herself does not get money. She said, "I've got all the money I need, so I don't need any more money." And the same with Dr. Foldays also. And the other thing to remember, to keep in mind, if you're thinking about the surgery, you have to go through counseling. There is no way you can go through that surgery and not go through counseling. You need it. You need physical therapy, and you also need mental therapy. All right. So you need, those are two things to keep in mind, and make sure that you're the right doctor to avoid further trauma. Because if you go with a doctor that does not know what they're doing, you'll be traumatized all over again, and we do not want that to happen. You've been through a lot. And so with my surgery, now I can walk into a room again. That's the thing when I talked about my wholeness, my mental well-being, physical, sexual, spiritual. It helped also. Oh my gosh, my confidence returned. So now, yeah, I came to America and God helped build my confidence, but I still had something in the back of my mind when I walk into a room saying, "Oh, I wonder how many women here are survivors of FGM." You know, so I look at a woman who's not gone through FGM. I think that they're there, and I am here because of what happened to me. But after my surgery, after my restorative surgery, I walk into a room. I'm not conceited. It's nothing about being conceited. It's just about embracing the new me. It's about embracing the whole me, you know, because when I was created in the image and likeness of God, I was complete and I was whole. But when they did that and took that away from me, I was left whole but incomplete. And now I'm back to being complete and whole. There's no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me now. I hope YouTube doesn't do a copyright on this, yeah, because of that song. But yeah, so if you're interested in it, you've got questions, there's no question that I don't answer. I've been asked the most ridiculous questions about this surgery, and one of the most ridiculous questions I've asked is, how big is your clitoris? I'm like, seriously, lady or man, whomever you are, seriously? How am I supposed to know? You think I sit there and I take a mirror and I go, okay, then let's find out. How big is this thing? No, I do not. I've never done what I did when I first had the surgery. It was beautiful though. It was so beautiful. Yeah. And I called my husband, whom I got married to in 2019, the beneficiary of my surgery. Yeah, so that's it. That's one of the silver linings of me surviving female genital mutilation. The surgery, the travel to Paris, and I got to meet this woman whom is now a friend, Odile. And was it last year that I went to visit her when I was doing my tour of Europe? Was it last year or a year and a half ago? Yeah, I spent some time with her. God has just opened so many doors for me, and that's the thing. I hope that whatever your trauma is, I hope that whatever it is that you're battling with, or whatever it is you're going through, that you can take time to forgive the people who put you in that position to get hurt. Also, I hope that you can forgive yourself, because if you do not forgive those people and you do not forgive yourself, God may never be able to use your story to bring healing to others. And God does not wait until we are fully healed. No, He heals us every single day. And every time I talk about my story, I get healed. Every time I talk about my story, I get healed. Every time I talk about my story, a part of me that was that was taken, stolen, get restored. So I encourage you, no matter what you've gone through, yours may be worse than me. I don't know. But one thing I know is healing starts when we forgive. Healing begins when we forgive the people who've hurt us and when we forgive ourselves. Because sometimes I've heard women say to me that it was their fault. How was it your fault? You were 2 years of age, you were 10, you were 12, you were 16, you were 8 days old. So how could it have been your fault? Was it your fault that you were born female? No. If you say it was your fault because you were born female, then you're saying that it's God's fault for creating your woman. And we all know that God is, the only thing that God does not do is make mistakes. God does not make mistakes. So I hope that these videos help you find closure, help you find peace, and put you on the path of recovery, restoration, and divine healing. Yeah, has sex changed for me? Yes, it has. It's really sensitive in a good way. My vagina, my genital is really sensitive in a good way. When my husband touches, ah! Yeah. I mean, stop it. I can't stop laughing, giggling. Yeah. But it's been, we've had our own issues because of FGM and rape, me, my story. But overall, I thank God for everything. My life has been beautiful. My life has been, what should I say my life has been? It's helped, my story has helped others, I think, because of the emails I receive. That's why I say that. And it's all because of God. It's all because of divine assignment, instruction, and my obedience to the Lord. So I know this was a bit long, but it's my last video on the topic. But I hope you continue to follow my channel for fun. What else? Culture, travel, me making my own clothes. And I'm currently working on a project that I'll be sharing with you. And it's also a divine instruction. I don't just get up and do things because others are doing it. I do what the Lord tells me to do. I try to do what the Lord tells me to do. All right, I don't know how long it's been. 30 something. I'm not wearing my glasses, but thank you so much. Again, share this video. And if you have any questions about the surgery, if you're in the States, you have any questions about the surgery, please reach out to me. Even if you're not in the States, if you're in Europe or whatnot, I've had some survivors who are not even in the States, in Europe, talk to me, and I was able to give them my own 2 cents, and they were really grateful. So I thank God for everything. And I thank God for you for watching. And until next time, I'm FA saying ta-ta.